Mindset Monday. I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And we have with us today Natasha Duga. We are so excited, Natasha, to have you here with us today. Natasha is the founder and CEO of Weaver.io. It is a digital marketing um, it's a digital marketing engine to optimize lead generation. Like you're speaking our language. Like we're all about lead generation. How do we get more? You're a serial entrepreneur. You're a mom. You're a motorcyclist. You are an adventurist. Everything I see with online, it's yeah. You are an adventurist. You like the outdoors. Um, you're going to be a speaker at Power Atlantic this year, May 8th. You're also zipping around with Yves Boudreau at CCNB, doing a lot of the speaking there. So if you're looking for a speaker, Natasha is here to serve. I love that, Natasha. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Oh,
Hmm.
It's
happy
fun to
Monday.
start the week with you guys, to be honest.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. We're going to put a little shout out to Katie DeWeroff for our background once again. It's gotten to be very
I
exciting.
was really hoping Natasha could see our beautiful podcast room. It's really
You
nice.
can be a friend of the show and come back
Okay,
and
you
visit
can
with
come
us.
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
absolutely. And we will have you in. And I just need to put a shout out to Dion. Thank you, Dion, for the fan.
Oh, she bought that?
She did. She
Oh,
bought me a fan.
he's so great.
Tune.
I know.
I know. Thank you,
Not like
Dion.
me. I don't.
No, you're like, what's your problem? I'm like, I am menopausal. I am
No,
58 and
but
feeling it.
Eve is the fan. He is your
I am. I
fan. So
am the
you
biggest.
have
Oh, I
two
like that.
fans. You have
I
three
don't
fans
need.
right now.
Yeah. I don't need. You don't. Yeah. What do you need that?
Oh,
I
that's
actually. You're right. Because when I saw that, I was offended. I didn't know why, but that's why.
that's why.
There's competition. I don't like that.
Digital. I got a digital fan. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
get
Natasha,
started.
talk to us. Let's talk about Weaver.
Perfect. So Weaver, we are a Atlantic firm, and we do digital marketing, but we mostly how do you say that? Specialize in automation. And it's funny how things work. So we work a lot with companies that want to increase their sales, right? Either with automating their sales and marketing. But what we've been working on mostly these days has been operational
Mm.
automation because people want to have more sales, but they're not ready to get them because their operations are not um, are not lean, are not processed already. And so basically, right now, we're getting mostly all of the operations automated so that we can actually bring more people in and just let them, I call it the water slide. Like, just let
Mm.
them go through the water slide and have a splash, right? So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. So are you telling me that you're bringing in so many leads that there's not enough sales to manage that? So you're having to lean that up. So for instance, if you're advertising for something on socials and they click on it, it'll go right to like a messenger app will come up and say, "Hey,
Yeah, so you can have a conversion bot, you can have that, or you can have a form, you could have a landing page. There's so many forms, there's so many formats to capture leads, and then how do you nurture them and bring them to convert? But so, for example, for one of our clients, we actually have a qualifying system. So when the lead comes in, it will go like it will qualify it if it's hot, if it's cold, or well, cold, hot, and warm. And basically, what they'll do is they'll just focus on the hot leads and then send the warm leads to a nurturing system. And then the cold leads, they might touch point, have a different touch point in 3 months or something like that and then requalify them at that time. So it helps the team to focus really on what is important and are people that are ready to buy instead of having a bunch of information and hoping that they can qualify them at that time. So it's just more energy focused on sales.
so that's really cool because the behavior aspect, kind of like what you and I were talking about
Yeah.
before. So what is those behaviors that you're seeing that people are hot to buy now?
Well, it's like there's a basics. I think that we have to be ready. I think that there's not enough people asking hard questions to qualify their leads. Like, so for example, are you ready to buy now? if the person says no, well, it doesn't mean that you have to back off and, like it depends on your philosophy and how you work your sales. But, when they say, yes, I'm ready to buy now. Like, when was this last time that you had or you've made this type of investment? Well, if it was never, right? So, okay, what makes it important for you to buy today or and make that type of investment? So, asking, I think for if you don't ask hard questions and difficult questions, you really won't know if your lead is actually qualified, right? And I'm talking mostly for bigger tickets here. Smaller tickets is a different ball game, but for big tickets, it's really important to dig into the real things, the real reason, and to understand what's the real. I think that, like we're gonna go into psychology here a little bit, but we all have needs, right? And we all have primary needs. And it's understanding what is the primary need to that customer so that you can make the sales. So if their primary need is certainty, that they want to be certain that something will work, well, you have to make sure that everything that they see supports that emotion. And I was giving I was the main speaker for the BAFA, which is the University of Moncton's banquet this year, and the thing that I was saying is that through time we have changed containers. For example, we went from horses to the car to planes to, another technology to, rocket ships. Then we have internet, we have radio, we have AI, all of these things. But these are just containers, right? The human emotion is still the same as before. Like, we haven't changed the way we felt. And the only true measurement to anything in life, I call it the unit economics of a of any form of transaction, is the human emotion. And if you can understand that, you will be able to make sales, you will be able to make good marketing, you will be able to have great products. But until you understand what really makes your people tick, what emotions do you bring? So really, I don't sell automation. I sell relief and hope, right? I feel like I sell relief at the very moment, and I sell hope that there will be that the owners will be able to step down a little bit, so that's what I mean about understanding the main thing for the human to say, yes, that works for me. So for example, Dovico, right? What are you, like, exactly what emotions that you're selling, right? You're selling a form of certainty. I know that by using Dovico, that my people will have what they need to move forward, right? And I think that is by understanding our primary needs and the emotions that go with their primary needs that we're really able to move the needle.
Yeah, that's great. It's interesting that you say we know their needs, because their needs over 33 years have absolutely changed.
Yes.
We know the
Yes.
needs of you. We know the needs of the marketer who wants to make sure that they capture every billable hour.
Yep. Yep.
But do we know the needs of the employee that needs to track their time? And they're looking at tracking their time as an admin function just for you.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
gives them nothing,
Yep. You have to
right?
understand the purpose and the values of that, like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the purpose? How does this, like, it's like that who the person that does the cleaning, janitor.
Janitor? Yep.
Yeah, I remember that he said, I think it was John F. Kennedy that walked into NASA, and he was saying, "Hey, well, what are you doing here?" And the guy was sweeping the floor, and he says, "I'm helping people get astronauts to the moon," right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he understood that his purpose, even though that was a janitor, his purpose was to support the whole infrastructure, right? And his job was important. And I think it's essential for an employee to understand, yes, I'm tracking my time, but by tracking my time, I'm tracking productivity, I'm tracking profit. And by understanding this profit, that the company can actually be profitable, can grow, can reinvest in all these things. So I think it's important to understand that purpose, understanding purpose in everything that our employees do or everything that we do makes the world go round, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just letting you girls talk.
I know that I can feel you. You're like, oh, I need to ask it. I need to ask this. I can feel it.
So, okay. So understanding your emotional needs from a company point of view, understanding what you're delivering from an emotional point of view is where you focus on when you're developing these metrics or these procedures, not only to get the lead in, but more importantly to get the closing of the leads, whether or not these are valued within your emotional delivery of your. So every company delivers some sort of emotions, right,
Exactly.
for the product that you serve. Yeah.
100%.
And is that the first thing you do when you go see a customer? You kind of said, okay, well, this is the value from an emotional point of view that you're delivering. Maybe it's comfort, maybe it's like,
I think it depends on the client. There's a lot of so for example, like we know that there's different types of clients that, you know, we have mathematical. So the disc, right? Like DISC. So dominant, influence, stable, and consistent. So depending on that personality, you can actually go and discuss at the same level of understanding. If somebody is not open, like I can't go to a C and start talking about emotions. Like that won't work. It just won't work, right? So how do you connect on other levels to talk about things that make sense to them, right? And then move them to understanding relational aspects and how do we bring, and we have to remember we are using automation, we are using AI, we are using all of these aspects. So that is why we predominantly work with forms of emotions, because we can't have an automated email go out to people with no emotions. It doesn't work, right? It has to has emotions. So how do we convey emotions through and rapport? Eve and I, we've known each other for 11 years, right? So I know, yeah,
only 11 years?
only 11
You're
years.
like
Yeah.
one of my newest friends.
Yeah, well, it's just the age type. No, so the thing is that when we sit down, we know where to start, right? And it's creating that rapport, right? So I call it. I hope one day that I have time to write a book that's going to be the resonance of understanding. And I remember when we did that lunch or that dinner, Shelley, it was a bunch of women, and the goal was for us to have that resonance of understanding. It's because that's where connectivity happens in human beings, right?
So explain
Whether
that to me more. Like
yeah,
resonant. What is that?
so for example, Shelley has a cup. What's on your cup, Shelley?
It's a Harley Davidson logo.
It's our Harley Davidson logo. I'm a biker. So the first thing, she just took a sip. I, like, she didn't have to say anything. I realized, oh, she has a biker's cup. So the goal was, for me, it created a resonance with her. I have something in common. So we have different ways of creating understanding. So it can be through commonality, which is familiarity, or it can be done through repetition, which is marketing, right? So, for example, we know somebody that knows you, then there's a commonality, then there's a resonance. So, for example, when we sit with clients that has a commonality, then it creates an openness in the mind, and therefore it's easy for somebody to just connect with us. You can't sell with somebody that you have no connection to. You
So
need
how do
to
you
connect
so how
at
do you
some
do
level.
that with an AI email? How do you
Yeah.
connect? How do you create resonance, commonality with like with a bot? Does it
Yeah.
look for like the Harley Davidson cup, Does it look for that? Does it look
Well,
for
yes, in a way it does, and that's the advantage. Like people say, oh, I think that there's going to be a next level of communications with AI, but your AI can remember things that you and I cannot remember, right? Like your AI goes into the system and digs into all of the data that you have on that customer and pulls out information that you can't remember on top of your head, right? So that's where personalization becomes super important. And I'm not talking about personalization of your name or things like that. I mean personalization in understanding what you need and showing you that we understand your pain much more than we were able to do in the short term. Like in I would say that in the 70s and the 80s, when internet was not a thing, where email was not a thing, you had to have physical rapport. You had to go and actually either pick up the phone or show up. That's where the energy came in. But now that we have distanced ourselves from the physical connectivity, we need to find it in a way with pushing emotions, or having emotions and understanding through our communications, our written communications, our spoken communications, and all of these aspects.
okay, that's scary,
Yeah, it is.
but it's also
But
interesting
yeah, well,
and very kind of opportune, like there's an opportunity, right? So what I mean by that is like I just like heard, I don't know if it's true or not, so maybe I shouldn't say it, but I heard that that some of the AI bots, like on Gmail, for example, is going through, they just gave permission, Google gave permission to read all our emails and collect information. So all of a sudden, you, if you want to market to me, you have access to all personal information. So now, so instead of like having the human try to look for the cup, the AI looks for the cup and says, "Hey, by the way, you have this in common with this person." So,
yeah,
so we used to worry about like people knowing too much. Now they're going to know everything. They're
yeah.
going to know if you're
Well,
pregnant. They're going to know if you're going to get married.
Meta already does.
They
Like
already
when you're
did.
thinking
Exactly.
about, yeah, Meta
Yeah.
already does, and it probably knows more about you that you know about yourself,
Yeah.
right? And we have to remember, right, that we are primates. Like we are not that smart. Like it's and we are being. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie Focus with Will Smith and what was her name? Anyways, and at some point he's showing the person 55 all through the day, and at the end he asks you, pick a number, pick a player, any
Oh
player.
yeah, I
What
remember
did they
that.
do?
Yeah.
He picks 55. He's being primed. That's all. And we think that we have a choice, but we don't. Like in a sense that we don't. We are being primed, and we. So if you go on social media and you're going to be shown a ad for hiking boots. Well, you're pretty sure that you're going to have all of your friends that have done outdoor activity be fed to you prior to being shown that ad, right? So it's good for the people that do ads, but it's also we have to be cognizant that that's happening.
Yeah. So, but the positive side of it is I don't want to be shown ads of baby carriages because I'm
Yeah,
not in that stage, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't want to be shown ads of Harley Davidson because I think my crotch is too low. So, so, but
He means
but give me any
On
ads about
air.
Milwaukee and it's like it's already doing that. It's like when I'm talking about Milwaukee, I'm sure TikTok and Facebook and all these are going to pop up ads. And what I
totally.
hate is when they show up ads of people or things I don't want to see. So there's an advantage to it. They don't waste my time. So I
No, for
find,
sure, for sure.
yeah,
And we have to remember that they're not like Meta and all of these systems are not working for like they're working for their shareholders. So they're going to maximize revenue. And
Absolutely.
they're losing time if they're showing you ads that you're not interested in.
Yeah.
so
So emotions matter.
Emotions matter.
Emotions matter. And that's kind of what I'm hearing here. But I wrote something down that you said when you first started. And I really need to know this because when I started leading this company, people told me to stop using the word love so much. People
Mm.
told me to stop being so emotional. And I, of course, I was, well, that's not going to happen. Look away. Uh, and you said, I can't go in and just start talking to C-suite about emotions.
Yeah.
Why do you think
Well,
that is?
Because they're
no,
mostly men.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I wouldn't say C-suite. I say C people, which is the consistent in the disk. Like so, for example, consistent people are based on data. They want to have data, so that's why. But if I were speaking with somebody that is, so he's the owl in the company, right?
Okay.
So if I talk to him about emotions, that won't go. But if, for example, I speak to somebody that is an influencer, which is like the I, like, and I would say that Yves would be an I, right? He's so it's no, he has two. But I could speak to him about emotions, right? So it really depends on the insight or the type of person that is leading the company. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a C-suite, but really the person. So for example,
Understood.
let's like I would say I always talk to Zach Everett from Magnetic Hill.
Hmm.
Zach is an I, like he is all about people. So I can go in and talk directly about emotions and the need for emotions. But
Hmm.
if I'm talking to somebody that is more like in tech, or
Yep.
something like that, often enough they're owls, right? So they're a C. So
Yep.
they're more important about is data and being right about data. So I can't come in. So if I would come in, then I could come in with data about emotions. That would work. Do you understand what
Right.
I mean?
I
It,
absolutely do because we have customers that have been with us since the 1900s, swear to God. And just recently, and of course techie, right? They're all
yeah,
techie. And he came in and he started talking to me about what type of reporting he needed. Now remember, he's been with our company for 30 years, so he knows what kind of reports we do, but he needed something a little bit different. And as we were discussing, I knew there was an emotion there. So I got a little bit deeper and I said, what's happening? What's going on? Talk to me about your day. And within a couple of minutes, it wasn't the reporting that he needed. What he truly
aha.
needed, the concern was, I think my people are burning out. We are so busy
Oh,
in what we're doing. My concern is about burnout. It wasn't anything about reporting at all. So sometimes I believe that when we
yeah,
can get in front of these consistent people and we
yeah,
can start talking to them about truly what's going on, right? As opposed to them trying to like work through the data.
yeah,
Let's go deeper. It's not
yeah.
as scary as what some might think it is.
Yeah.
So,
But you still
um,
need to have that rapport. You have 30
oh, you do.
years,
You
right? In
do.
order to get to that
Yep.
emotion
Yep.
aspect. So yeah, you still need to have that rapport.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Oh, man, what an
So,
amazing discussion.
so this is interesting because, like, if you look at the big problem we're trying to solve at Dovico, one of the problems we have major problems, like it's bigger than going to Mars, I think. But anyway, so one of the problems is that people don't like filling in timesheets.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we sell to the
100%.
manager, and the manager says, "I want this timesheet to get my data, so I can actually bill and figure out which projects are on time and whether or not the project is healthy and all that stuff, right? Where
Yep.
is it blocks and stuff like that." But the employees, the programmers and the engineers, these are people that we consultants, these are people we sell to, have no interest in doing that. So, so when you're talking to me about that, like emotional or data, like I view these people mostly like these people, the workers, the people who went to like me. I'm an engineer. Um, I I want data. Like, give me a
Yep.
reason why I should fill this out. If not, it's not worth it for me. It's not
Yep.
an emotional thing. It's like, why should I do this?
Yep.
Right? So when we're selling, we're not selling to the end user, but the problem is the end user.
Yep.
So our
Yep.
sales, when we generate leads, we sell from an emotional point of view to the manager. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel some security. You're going to you get all the data you need to build, and that's what we sell to. That's the emotional attachment to the manager, right? The
Yep.
confidence that they'll be able to produce the reports they need to give the information to their boss or to themselves to see if the project is on time and healthy.
Yep.
And but the problem we encounter is the user, right? So we're not kind of generating leads from that, but that's the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And so we've been struggling for that, and I think the whole industry is struggling with that. So we've tried different ways to do that, automating it, make it easier, and it's pretty easy to enter time. That's not
Yeah.
the issue. It doesn't take a lot of time. These are very smart people.
Yeah.
Like they can figure out how an app
Engineers
works,
and
right?
yeah.
Like they went to school to figure out this stuff. So that's not the issue. The issue is they don't want to do it, right?
Yeah. And so I think that that's where gamifying has become a role in all of these aspects. So how even like, I think that gamified, especially in the younger generation today, like I think that our generation is still okay doing things for the sake of doing things. But I think that the next generation is going to be looking for much more purpose, right? Why should I be doing this?
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you for saying I'm a part of your generation.
Yeah, me too.
I feel so younger. And
It's probably because I'll, I'm in your generation. Don't worry.
Oh, good,
Well,
good. He's a boomer, though. I'm not a boomer.
No, I'm not a boomer either.
I'm not
Yeah.
in
Gen
her
X.
generation either. And I'm not in yours.
No, Gen
I'm
X.
being
I'm in my own.
inclusive, Eve. Just roll with it.
I'm rolling her. Oh, I love the heart. So, okay, cool.
Oh,
For you,
yeah,
Shelley.
love.
Love.
Right? Love wins. My hashtag. Oh my gosh, Natasha, what an amazing conversation this Monday morning. We don't want to keep you too long. 10 o'clock is usually our cutoff time. We have Felicia with us this morning, and Dion, and Trent, and Tanya. Hi, Tanya. I haven't seen Tanya for a long
I
time.
see her online all the time. She's
She's
busy.
not, oh yeah, I see her online
Girl.
all the time.
Yeah.
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 She's a John Maxwell girl, and
She is.
That's
yes.
Tanya Doucet.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tanya
Doucet,
Doucet, yeah.
yes, and I absolutely. We've seen John
Oh,
Maxwell like a
my
ridiculous
God.
amount of times,
Oh,
and
he was in Sackville last week.
Oh,
yes,
really?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
yeah. Well, no, we've seen him a lot. We actually the very first time I think we saw him.
In Toronto. No, Moncton.
No, it was in Moncton at the
Moncton.
Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was amazing then. Still amazing. Yeah, Tanya sends a big hello, and Jazan. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Emotions matter. It has everything to do with business. You can't walk into your
Yeah,
business and
100%.
and hang up your emotions. I think that it's really super important. Natasha and I got to be with 14 other women or 13 other women at a Black Rabbit event that
Oh, yeah.
Julia and
Recently.
Heather put on just recently. And while we shared our thoughts on balance, we shared a little bit about ourselves around this table. We got to truly know one another. I had never really met any of those girls, and now I've got three of you who are actually coming to Mindset Monday, so Moncton can know a little bit more about you. And Dovico sells into 80 different countries, and we're seen all over. So I want to thank you, Natasha, for continuing the conversation. I absolutely love it. You have marketing needs in Atlanta, Canada, then Weaver IO is your spot. She will
Merci.
automate that stuff for you. And if you find her
We'll
out
automate
in
with emotions.
I
automate
love
with
that.
emotions, yeah, well, I think it's important.
Want to deal with emotions if you can automate it. I never knew that. God, can you automate my emotions? I was feeling depressed yesterday.
I didn't mean regulate. That's a different
Can you,
Oh yeah,
ballpark.
that
can you
is.
figure me out?
Love it, love it. And again, this fan, Dion, thank you so much. It has really come in really a lot this morning. I've required it. So
Thank you,
you.
Shelley. Thank you,
Thank you,
Eve.
Natasha.
Have a
Natasha.
lovely week.
Yes, wonderful. So I'm Shelley Butler,
I'm Yves Doucet.
and this has been Mindset Monday. Love you. Mwah. Get your workout in. And how are you showing up?